Hello, everyone. Um, so I'm reading an article, and it originally appeared out of Huffington Post, and the author of the article is Dolores Huerta, and I was kind of shocked to see that she actually put her viewpoint in to weigh on in the Brett Kavanaugh vote. And so I'm actually looking here. I entitled this video is Brett Kavanaugh Vote, a Battle of Sexes in America. And so it says Brett Kavanaugh vote was a test of well, I call it machoism, but it's machismo is what it's pronounced, not politics. And so before I read this article, this is her perspective on what this whole arena and this whole media circus behind the support of Brett Kavanaugh being selected as Supreme Court justice pick. And so I'm going to read it. It's not that long, but it is really well thought out, and it gives truth, a lot of truth as to how women are viewed. But I believe it extends outside of the Latino community. It is in also everywhere here in America, and also definitely in the Black community as well, where women are viewed as having to be subservient to males, even when it's not necessary at all to back them. It's not safe, it's not logical, it's not rational to back them or support them when they've done a lot of wrong. And it has been really crazy, this whole arena that has come out about his behavior and how he's treated people in his past, this Brett Kavanaugh. And so there's substantial evidence, a lot of people that have come out against him. And, you see how the world operates. And it's important to know that they're taking a huge risk time tenure in this position. This is not something that is just a couple of years or a couple of months. Even it's a professor tried to rape her in high school from before they even heard her speak. So even though evidence shows that Judge Kavanaugh lied repeatedly under oath, every Republican, with the notable exception of Senator Lisa Murkowski, plus Democrats, have decided and stubbornly stand by their man. There's a word for that in Spanish in particular. It's called machismo. Machismo is more than just sexist or sexism, chauvinism, or even misogyny. It's the belief that men are superior to women. It also refers to the culture that enforces that belief, one which protects male domination and social standing through subjugation stereotypes and a gentleman's agreement to have one another's backs. Machismo also fuels violence against women and sustains the culture of impunity we're witnessing today. We in the Latino community are all too familiar with machismo and its effects. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, 13.6% of Latinas are rape survivors, and 35.6% of Latina women have experienced sexual violence other than rape during their lifetimes. Members of our community are also less likely to report sexual assault, oftentimes because of their immigration status and fear of being deported for reporting the crime. This, I'm going to stop for a moment, sounds like a Hispanic or Mexican version of what the Black community goes through. And how I'm going to relate to this is that Black women will not speak out about their sexual abuse. They don't feel that they're going to be believed because being a woman is one of the reasons, and you're not taken serious because you're a woman. And then the other reason is because it's a Black woman that is reporting sexual abuse or violence or other, and fear of being not believed and belittled and shunned by others. In our community, we experience the same issues. So machismo is more than just sexism, chauvinism, or misogyny. It's the belief that men are superior to women. Yet the reality is that machismo and the violence it breeds are not confined to the Latino community. Exactly. So the Me Too movement has shown us that machismo and its effects are present throughout our society. Latinos just happen to have named it. Nearly 1 in 3 women will experience sexual assault or violence in their lifetime. 60% of sexual assaults go unreported, largely due to the survivor's reasonable fear of being shamed, re-traumatized, re-victimized, or simply not believed. And that is the thing that happens a lot to Black women as well. And so that's one of the huge reasons why we won't talk about it, or we don't want to report when somebody has done something to us. So, and it goes on to say, and when it comes to our political institutions, the Senate has long been the epicenter of machismo. It's a workplace where female senators contend with endless inappropriate remarks, inequities, and condescension. So it's a law-making body that refuses to adequately fund efforts to stop violence against women or impose stronger workplace protections to prevent harassment. So the Senate Judiciary Committee is the same group that humiliated law professor Anita Hill. And so if you don't remember that, you'd have to look up Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas. I mentioned that, and I remember that. I was really young at the time, but I do remember the floor show with that whole case. And it was very humiliating. And so that shows you an African American version of what Christine Blasey, Professor Christine Blasey Ford went through. Only it was Anita Hill that went through it with Clarence Thomas. And Anita Hill, and it shows that she humiliated her as she was a law professor and patronized Justice Sonia Sotomayor during her nomination hearings. Okay, so it's going to add on to this, and it's full of machistas who are well versed in brushing sexual assault allegations under the rug. Machistas, women who support this foolishness, who are standing blindly behind males. And we have a lot of those type of women in the Black community who are Black, and they stand behind Black men even when they're abusive, even when they're hurtful, even when they talk about us hard, when they make videos that degrade us, when they threaten us, when they beat us, as if to brush all of it under the rug. And when they leave us with children and don't and stay with the responsibility of being a parent. That's why it's no surprise that so many senators dismiss Dr. Ford's claims after listening to a testimony that even they found themselves to be moving and credible. The fact they're choosing to confirm Judge Kavanaugh after his belligerent, partisan, and unhinged performance only adds insult to injury. Politics doesn't explain how Republican senator, male and female, can simultaneously find Dr. Ford credible and be convinced Judge Kavanaugh did nothing wrong. It doesn't rationalize why they are willing to take the risk of confirming someone to a lifetime tenure of Supreme Court who is potentially lying under oath about sexually assaulting women, especially when there's a long list of other conservative candidates they could swiftly appoint instead. Politics simply doesn't justify how they can ignore the wave of sexual assault survivors, including many of their constituents, begging the Senate to vote against another woman identified with 100% certainty as her aggressor. The mere fact that some of our elected officials are willing to put politics above convincing allegations and the collective pain of so many women is a testament to machismo in and of itself. With a full Senate vote on Kavanaugh's confirmation all but decided, the outcome boils down to one question. Is this spectacle an expression of machismo's last gasp for air, or did it signal machismo getting a second wind? This could have been the moment when the Senate reflected how far we as a nation have come in the Me Too era and conducted a fair, thorough, and meaningful inquiry. But in order to do that, it would have had to put its machismo, not just its politics, aside. This article is by Dolores Huerta, who is a labor leader, women's advocate, and civil rights activist who co-founded United Farm Workers Movement. Andrea Neal Sanchez is a director at the Rabin Group. So the article originally had appeared out of Huffington Post, and here's pictured here, "We believe all survivors." I felt this was a very legitimate article because it also is mirrored as to all women of different backgrounds and what they experienced in the United States and even outside the United States. And so for this article, the way it was well thought out, and it also included the women who also helped to perpetuate this, I thought this was 100% a good article that pretty much hit home as to what we're dealing with here. All we can do is wait and see what the outcome of this pick, Brett Kavanaugh, will bring. I'll say before I let this video go that I read an article where Brett Kavanaugh said that he was going to seek revenge in his own way, and that once he got picked, that some of the people who didn't want him in there, or some of the things that he had to go through, he's going to show how he's going to execute his job and what he's going to do to pay back those that gave him a difficult time to get his tenureship in his position. And that sounds like a threat. And it could mean something really, really serious for a lot of people, many people here in America. Who knows what kind of things he may decide to come out up with or stand behind that are unfair to many people. That's what it sounds like to me. Well, with that being said, I'm going to let this video go. But I think they made a huge mistake in picking this man. With that being said, thanks for listening.